Hey guys, welcome back. So coincidentally, I've actually got quite a few projectors that I'm going to review, or more specifically budget projectors. Now if you're on the lookout for a good budget projector, do remember to subscribe so you don't miss those other reviews. But first up, we're going to start with this one. So this is a projector from a company called Veemi. Now this is actually the second projector that I've got from Veemi to test out. The first one was actually a starry or a starlight projector, which was pretty cool actually. So if you want to see that video, I'll leave a link to that in the video description below. So yes, this projector by Veemi is a full HD one. Now when I say full HD, I don't just mean that it supports full HD. The native resolution of this projector is actually 1920 by 1080. And not just that, alright? So this is one of the few budget projectors that I've tested out that actually displays 1920 by 1080 or full HD, but at 60 Hz, alright? So a lot of budget projectors that I've tested before, they were also native full HD resolution projectors, but they would only display at 30 Hz. This one goes all the way to 60 and it is so smooth. But before we get to the picture quality, in the box you get the projector, of course, you get the power cable, you also get a few video cables as well. You get an RCA cable, or rather it's a 3.5mm cable to RCA output, and then you also get a HDMI cable as well, and of course you get a remote, which is great. But if let's say something were to happen to the remote, you do have controls on the projector itself, so that's great. Now in terms of I/O, at the back you have a USB port, you have two HDMI ports, and over at the side you get two 3.5mm ports. Now in terms of I/O, I've got no complaints. I like the fact that it's got two HDMI ports. However, I have a bit of an issue with the fact that none of it is labeled. Now I actually thought that, oh, if I open up the user manual, it'll be there, but it's not even mentioned there as well. And yeah, even then, USB port, it's pretty straightforward. I don't know what version though. Two HDMI ports, same thing. I know what a HDMI port looks like, most people do, but I don't know what version. And then you've got the two 3.5mm ports at the side. Now, one of them is obviously for the RCA input. Like I mentioned, you do get a 3.5mm to RCA cable that's included with the projector. And then the other one, I assume it's a headphone out. So I actually had to go and test and find out which one it was. So if everything was labeled, I think it would have been a little easier. Now, to be clear, this is not a smart projector or a smart projector in terms of how we are used to what smart projectors are. There is no Android interface. You don't have streaming apps like YouTube or Netflix built in. However, there is an interface, a pretty simple one, because you can actually plug in a flash drive or like a regular thumb drive. You plug it in through the USB port at the back, and you can watch videos, you can play pictures, even listen to music as well. And yes, it does have built-in audio. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much all it does on its own. What I would recommend is getting something cheap, like even a third generation Chromecast for like 40 bucks. Buy that, and yes, I had to test this out again because it wasn't labeled, but the USB port does supply power. So if you get a Chromecast, you can actually provide power to the Chromecast through the USB port, and you don't have to run another wire to power the Chromecast, which is great. So just plug it in and you've pretty much got a smart projector. And yes, talking about the built-in speaker, I would say it's okay, it's not fantastic. I will consider it a good backup just in case you can't find any speakers to plug it into. Now in terms of design, I actually quite like it. It's got a small, compact form factor. It looks really nice. It looks premium in its own sort of way. I like the grille at the front. Both the vertical keystone and the focus is right on top of the lens. So the one in the back is for your vertical keystone and the one in front is to focus the lens. Which now brings me, of course, to the picture quality. Now in terms of the quality of the videos that it outputs, I actually have no complaints. I actually think it's pretty good. However, it boasts, or at least the company boasts, that it has 7,000 lumens. I don't know, I plugged it in, it was pretty bright. I can't confirm if it's 7,000 lumens, but if you were to ask me whether it's bright enough, I would say definitely. Even when I tested it out in like a lit room, you could still see the pictures. Now, obviously, it's gonna be a lot better if you're in a dark room, and yes, when you are in a dark room, it is very impressive. Now, like I said, picture quality is really great, but not just that, the color reproduction is pretty good. I compared it with my computer screen, and they are pretty well matched. A lot of budget projectors that I test out, the colors tend to be either oversaturated or sometimes even inaccurate. But this one I would say is pretty good. As far as budget projectors, it seems like a lot of budget projectors has sort of leveled up. And of course, you are never going to get the same sort of dynamic range or contrast as an actual TV. But again, when you're in a proper room that is set for projector, if it's nice and dark, you get really good picture quality, and I was really impressed. Now, if you're wondering about gaming, I would say it's okay. If you're playing sort of like racing games, things that are not too latency intensive, I would say it's fine. Now, some of you who are more into like FPS games or games that are really fast paced, you might have an issue. But you know, for like racing games, that sort of thing, I thought it was fine. Now, overall, I think it's a really good projector. My only complaint right now is that I think it's a little bit too loud. If you were to have the projector right next to you, it's gonna be a bit of a problem. It is quite loud to the point that it is distracting. If you had headphones on, I guess it's not an issue, but if you're gonna listen to it on actual speakers, you might wanna place the projector somewhere that's not too near where you or your guys are gonna be sitting. So you can actually get this Veemi projector, and of course I'll leave a link to make that purchase in the video description below, but you can get it for actually about $95 US. So you get a budget projector with excellent video quality for under $100 US. That's a real steal. So do I think this Veemi projector is good value? Well, first of all, you're getting a native resolution of 1920 by 1080. So this is a native full HD projector. You get excellent video quality in a nice small form factor. You get a full powered USB port, so you can add in a Chromecast and you get a smart projector. All of this under $100? Hell yeah! Alright, so that about wraps up my review of this Veemi projector. Now, if you like this video, you know what to do, and I would love it if you were subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to receive notifications on our next video. I'm JP, and I'll see you real soon.